for the day is Dr. Begum Sheenan Kareem, PharmD, clinical pharmacist at Baby Memorial Hospital, Kerala. And she'll be talking on the topic from novice to expert reflection on 7 years of clinical pharmacist growth. Welcome you, ma'am.
Hello, good evening to all. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, yeah. So I hope all of you are students, or are you working as clinical pharmacists?
Student, ma'am.
Students, okay.
Students, ma'am.
Okay. So I will tell you about my journey about being in this field for the past 7 years. So initially, while I landed my job while I was doing my internship. So how we started, I got my first job in AJ Hospital in Mangalore. So how we landed the first job, it was we at that time in Mangalore there was no hospital that had clinical pharmacy as the post. So we went, me along with 4 or 5 of my classmates, we went from hospital to hospital along with 2 of our teachers, explaining about the role of clinical pharmacist in the hospital to the HR department, and sometimes we got to meet the directors in the hospital, and many of them listened to what we said, but finally we landed a job in AJ Hospital after that such a discussion there. So after once me along with 2 of my classmates, we 3 got job in AJ Hospital at that time, and they also didn't know what to do with us at first. So at first they posted us in pharmacist. So we were doing dispensing for 1 month. During that time, we met the HR, and we further discussed about our role as clinical pharmacist rather than being a dispensing pharmacist. So then they agreed to try to put us in IP areas. So they gave each of us different areas. So I got ICU, one of us got different wards like that. So after 1 month, we submitted a report of our findings that involved medication errors, drug interactions, ADR reporting. And after once we submitted those reports, the higher authorities took a meeting and they checked if these works can be done by someone else in the hospital. So then they understood that this role cannot be what we were doing is cannot be replaced by other people. So that's how we were finally given the job as a clinical pharmacist there. So our job there initially involved ward rounds and reviewing the file. Being a fresher, I used to take a long time reviewing the file, like one file and all used to take so many hours, and then I read a lot, and then finally I understood the cases. And then once with the errors and all, initially we used to not inform the clinicians. We just find the errors, make a report, and then we submit to the quality department there. But later on, we started informing the doctors about the errors, and we were met with lots of many doctors were against, and some used to accept too. But like even if some doctors accepted, then many wouldn't accept. But still, we could at least inform everyone about our findings and all. Once after I stayed there for like 2 years, and then we were under the quality department there. So in addition to doing the clinical pharmacist job, we also had the role of quality personals. Therefore, I some hospitals are maybe you all know they have NABH accreditation, JCA like that. So our hospital had NABH accreditation. So we were required to make policies regarding to the medication management, since we were going for the NABH. So they wanted someone to make that. So we were involved in that part as well. It involved making policies, mainly about using we use ISMP list as our reference for identifying high risk lookalike medications, sound alike medications. We first made policies on what are the made list on what are the high risk medications, how to lookalike medications, sound alike medications, and then we made policies on how they should be identified and how they should be used safely. So we were involved in making these policies and implementing across the hospital.
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Okay. So we did the role of clinical pharmacist and as well as a quality champion in that hospital. After that, I joined in a new hospital, and there also we had both these roles, clinical pharmacist and quality champion. So in the clinical pharmacist here, we were posted in different specialties. So I was initially posted in neurology and following that in cardiology. So we were involved in making in the ward in the rounds, both ICU and ward rounds. Following that, we would review the files, and any interventions is there, we inform the doctors directly. That involves both dose adjustments, drug duplications, drug interactions, and if there is an ADR, any monitoring issues are there, that is also informed. So after that, we were also involved in the antibiotic stewardship program. So in here, what we do is that we review the files and we do a sampling method. So we review the files and we review both surgical prophylaxis and surgical cases and both empirical cases. So under surgical cases, we see for the timing of antibiotics, if our policy states that it has to be given within 2 hours of incision, before incision. So we see to it, and then if the choice of antibiotics are correct, and the duration they are being used, both for empirical also we see what is being started at first, if that is a recommended first line for that particular indication. If the escalation and de-escalation of antibiotics are justified, and we see if based on the culture antibiotics are being modified or not, escalated or de-escalated, all that we review. And whatever is our interventions, both all the interventions that we inform to the clinicians directly. So here, when it comes to antibiotic stewardship program, we work as a team. It involves clinical pharmacists, doctors, and the microbiologists as well as HIC team. So we take the opinion of all, and then we give our interventions. So other than the file checking and antibiotic stewardship works, we also are involved in making different policies of the hospitals. So it involves both. It involves dilution protocols. Like we have currently developed on pulmonary embolism protocol, then insulin infusions, and then inotrope infusions. So such protocols are being made, and it is our responsibility to implement it. And we see whenever we go for wardens, we see that if they are following everything based on the protocol. So when we check the file, we see if the drugs are being given as per the indications or not. We see if the doses are apt for the indications. If the patient is developing any new symptoms, if it is related to an ADR, and drugs are adjusted accordingly, if the monitoring is done properly, and we see when it comes to administration, we see not we see if the dilutions are being done properly. Then if they are administering at the proper timing or not, so all that, and the monitoring is done or not. So when we check the file, we see all these aspects, and if there is any discrepancy, we inform the doctor. And the same thing is done for the antimicrobials as well. So along with that, we come under the quality department here. So we are involved in the quality audits as well. For example, we are an NABH accredited hospital and ISO accredited too. So we are involved in the audit aspects of the those two accreditations. Each of these accreditation have their own standard. So we are not just involved in looking at the medicine aspects. We are involved in looking at every aspects of the quality that may involve machines, it may involve hospital infection control practices, all that. So we are also responsible for ensuring that these protocols are of the NABH is strictly followed in the hospital in different areas as well. We are involved in ADR monitoring. We do not have a center here. We have a center in another hospital nearby. So we collect the ADR, we review it, we educate the patients about these drug ADRs, and we document in their files, and we give them ADR monitoring cards. Then we do drug counseling here. So whenever a patient is being discharged from our hospital, we go, we check their medications, we inform them about what they are, what the possible side effects that they need to monitor, about the disease, and what precautions they need to take, such and such monitoring, such and we discuss all that with the patients before leaving. So then, yeah, these are then when it comes to when you're under the quality department, our main role is about there's a fourth chapter of NABH, which is medication management chapter. So it explains everything related to management of medication. So as a clinical pharmacist, it is our prior responsibility to ensure that all that standards in the hospital is being followed or not. So this is our role right now. So we have both CP, then protocol making, and then NABH audits and all. Then we are also involved in training staffs that involves both the pharmacist and nursing staff. So we take classes on different topics for them. Then first and foremost achievement I would say here is that we can whenever there is an intervention, we can directly talk to the doctors. Initially they were not that much listening, but when we show them the evidence, and when we like constantly do it, they eventually accept it. So here I'm happy to say that there's a good amount of rapport with the clinicians here. And we do receive a lot of queries, both from the clinicians and nurses as well. So we provide drug information for them. Yeah, this is the overall work that we do here. Any doubt? Okay, then my session ends here. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you all.